Alright, what's happening, y'all? It's your boy Rico from Street Scores. I have some really interesting news, whether you see it good or bad. We're going to talk about both sides of it. And we also have just some straight up bad news. Interesting news is that the Commanders-Giants game, the rematch, has been flexed to Sunday Night Football. We're going to talk about the good and the bad from both of those. Very exciting. Also, I'm just now seeing that my boy Stetson Bennett is one of the 4 Heisman finalists. Thank you. But also, bad news, linebacker Cole Holcomb has been placed on IR officially. He underwent foot surgery, and we know he's done for the season. And we got to talk about how this impacts his future on the team and the decisions that we make around this team, and also why did it take this long for us to put him on IR? He hasn't played since like late October. Why couldn't we have just been put him on IR and get a linebacker before the trade deadline? So we got to talk about whether the Commanders mishandled this Cole Holcomb injury situation or not, and also we got to talk about Cole Holcomb's future on this team. He's an unrestricted free agent coming up. We're going to take a look at some of the other unrestricted free agents that we have coming up as well for the Commanders in this 2023 offseason, and is he a priority to bring back? Because this defense misses him for sure, especially in that Falcons game. But how much money do we think he'll be asking for? And will we end up moving on from him if he's asking for too much? But before we dive into all of that, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the bell next to the subscription button so you get notification immediately. And every time I release an informative and opinionated video just like this one, make sure you pull up every game day for the Commanders live play-by-play breakdown and analysis of everything that's going on. I live stream literally every Commanders game, whether it's regular season, I'm gonna speak it into existence, postseason as well. Make sure you pull up to laugh and learn with us. And without further ado, let's get it. All right, so let's go ahead and start with the bad news and get it out the way and really dive into this Cole Holcomb situation. Well, it all started when Tom Pelissero tweeted out this morning that linebacker Cole Holcomb underwent foot surgery and is out for season. Holcomb is a key leader for Washington and was one of the NFL's leading tacklers before landing on IR last week. He'll be fully recovered before he hits free agency in March. So that's a good thing. That's one positive part of it. But I mean, first of all, this was weird. Like, why wasn't he placed on IR a long time ago to open up a roster spot for potentially another linebacker or another player in general? We haven't seen him play since October 23rd. Why are we just now placing him on IR last week? And why is he just now getting foot surgery? I guess they wanted to hold out as long as they could because he is a very important piece to this team. I would say that Falcons game is the one that we missed Cole Holcomb the most. And then this Giants game was the one we missed Benjamin St-Juste the most. But we missed both of them a lot. It just depends on the opponent. If it's a run-heavy team, you miss Cole Holcomb, especially the fact that we have Jon Bostic out there. And if you saw how Brandon Cooks killed Jon Bostic for like 30% of the Houston Texans passing yards, that whole game came from one play of Brandon Cooks versus Jon Bostic. Now, granted, Brandon Cooks versus really any linebacker in the NFL isn't easy. And Cole Holcomb, I'm not saying he would shut down Brandon Cooks, but I don't think he would have allowed that play to go for as far as it did. Plus, with Cole Holcomb being so stout against the run, especially those last couple of games before he got hurt, that would allow us to use other players and more players in general to focus on stopping the pass. Because you're like, all right, Cole Holcomb and Jamin Davis got it in the box. They're straight. The defensive line, Cole Holcomb got it. We can use Jamin Davis in coverage more often. And maybe that's Jamin Davis in coverage versus Brandon Cooks instead of Jon Bostic. So, I mean, either way, having Cole Holcomb back over Jon Bostic and the little bit that David Mayo plays would be a huge help for this team. We miss Benjamin St-Juste a lot as well. And that's just been made very obvious with the way that poor Christian Holmes was getting killed out there against the Giants and then eventually got benched by Danny Johnson. But I mean, there's been times this season where Jamin Davis has been the only linebacker on the field. Just think about that. Like, coming into this season, a lot of people were thinking that Jamin Davis wasn't even NFL starting linebacker. And now it's gotten to the point where Cole Holcomb's hurt. Jon Bostic is Jon Bostic. David Mayo was hurt as well, but even after he came back, he's David Mayo. So Jack Del Rio has gotten to the point where he's like, well, Jon Bostic and David Mayo aren't good enough to have on the field a lot anyway, so we might as well just have Jamin Davis as the only linebacker on the field and just figure it out after that. And it's been working. His defense has been playing at an elite level with Jamin Davis literally being your only linebacker on the field at times. And I mean, for a couple of games in a row while we were going on that win streak and everything, Jamin Davis and Jon Bostic were the only two linebackers that played at all for the Commanders on defense any given game. And that's just unacceptable. unacceptable. And so we miss Cole Holcomb clearly. But at the same time, this defense has been playing elite without him. But if he would have come back healthy, he would only help. He wouldn't hold us back. Replacing John Bostic with Cole Holcomb would certainly be an upgrade, especially against the run. Easily against the run. We could talk about coverage. I mean, I think I'm faster than John Bostic at this point. Again, Cole Holcomb is not just this lockdown pass deflector and coverage linebacker like a Levante David a couple of years ago, but he's still better than anything that we're getting from John Bostic, honestly. And Jamin Davis is out here calling the plays for the defense. I mean, the one advantage you can say that having John Bostic on the field was pre-snap, he was the quarterback for the defense. He got everybody where they needed to be, when they needed to be there, making defensive audibles right before the snap and things like that. Now that Jamin Davis is handling that, literally why is John Bostic on the field? So it would be nice to have Cole Holcomb back, but apparently he is gone for the rest of this season. Again, I think they were trying to hold out and putting him on IR just out of the sheer slight hope that he may return for like a playoff run. But at this point, it looks like he's pretty much done, even if /win will make the playoffs, because again, I'm speaking it into existence. We got to beat the Giants in this upcoming rematch, which we're going to talk about a little bit later with the game being flexed. But man, it does suck not having Cole Holcomb, plain and simple. But again, I just think it's really weird how we handled the situation. Again, the last game we played in was October 23rd, and the trade deadline was November 1st, and we had plenty of time to go snag one of these other linebackers when we could have from other teams. I mean, Roquan Smith was out there. Now, granted, from what I've heard, I haven't watched Bears games since he's been there, but I've heard that he hasn't been balling out. But and also, I'm not even sure if Ron Rivera would have been willing to make that move, even if Cole Holcomb was on IR and we opened up a roster spot. But still, there were guys out there that we could have traded for. But at the end of the day, we can still tap into free agency. I mean, you have Blake Martinez from the Giants, you have Anthony Hitchens from the Chiefs, Donta Hightower from the New England Patriots, even though he's 31 years old. You have Danny Trevathan, Gerard Davis, my boy AJ Johnson from the Denver Broncos is still out there. There's a lot of names out there, and I'm surprised we're not bringing people in. I'm very surprised I haven't heard the Commanders have signed such and such at the very least the practice squad, or elevated somebody from the practice squad to the 53-man roster. So we got to monitor the situation and see what's going on with the linebacker position right now, because this is a very important position for us. I mean, this NFC right now is very run heavy, especially with the guys that we got to go through to get to the playoffs. The 49ers, the Cleveland Browns with Nick Chubb, especially with Deshaun Watson being so bad. We got to play the Giants again this upcoming week. We got to shut down Saquon Barkley, just like how we did in the second half. Let's do that entire game. And then we also play the Cowboys, where they got that two-headed monster in Tony Pollard and Ezekiel Elliott. And then, I mean, even playoffs-wise, you get to the playoffs, may end up having to play the Eagles again with that run-heavy attack. And even though the Vikings are killing it passing game-wise, it's kind of like the Cowboys, where they can pass very well, but they also prefer to run it if they can. And you know, Dalvin Cook over there not playing with people when he's on point, even though Madison has been balling out as well, and they almost look identical, not even just aesthetically, like with the locks and the same skin tone, almost the same size. It's literally hard to tell the difference between them without the jersey numbers and the name on the back. But now he's even producing almost at a Dalvin Cook level. I don't know if it's because Dalvin Cook doesn't look the same or Madison just got better, but they almost look the same out there, and we just need as much help as we can to stop this run right now. We definitely need it. So go out there and get you a guy, man. We have to. But looking at the future of the linebacker position, not just this season, looking at it at a macro view rather than a micro, looking at the 2023 offseason, Cole Holcomb, what's going to happen with him? Because now it's quite likely, or at the very least, it's more likely that he ends up going to another team after an injury like this. First of all, again, this defense has been playing near elite even without him. So I'm pretty sure, if anything, his injury this season has made us value him a little bit less. Like, we can figure it out without him. We've been making do without him so far. And hopefully there's not a team that really punishes us for not having Cole Holcomb on the field at some point this season or postseason. But so far, you can see the Commanders looking at Cole Holcomb like, man, we miss you and everything. But, I mean, Jack Del Rio has figured it out without you. We're not going to break the bank for you type of thing. And maybe they were willing to do that before the injury, before they saw that this defense could still play at a high level even without him. So, again, we need to draft linebacker regardless, in my opinion. I think come draft time, first round, second round at the latest, third round at the very, very latest, we need to attack linebacker. I thought we would do that this past draft. Now, look, Cole Holcomb is gone. Jamin Davis is our only quality starting linebacker right now. So that just goes to show that our depth right now for the linebacker position is atrocious. And like a lot of us were saying throughout the offseason, whether it be free agency or the draft, we needed to bring in another quality linebacker, not just because we felt like we needed another linebacker, period, to play a lot of snaps, but if there's an injury to Jamin Davis or Cole Holcomb, what do? And we're seeing right now that we do miss a Cole Holcomb. It would be nice to have a guy in his place. But again, going back to Cole Holcomb, future contract-wise and his future with this team and everything, we got Wes Schweitzer coming up as an unrestricted free agent, Daron Payne, the most notable unrestricted free agent coming up, Trey Turner, even though I doubt we bring him back, Cam Sims, we'll see, Joey Slye more than likely bring him back, Taylor Heinicke, our starting quarterback. I don't want to pay him big starting quarterback money, but we're gonna have to pay him something to bring him back. As of right now, he's making a little over $2.3 million per year with his current contract, and we're gonna have to do something to bring him back at the very least as a backup quarterback. I don't want him to be our starting franchise quarterback. If Taylor Heinicke is our starting quarterback next year, I am definitely disappointed. I mean, at the very least, you draft the guy to groom behind him. Obviously, that like, oh yeah, this is going to be the guy when he's ready. And I'm not sure if they see Sam Howell that way. So if they don't see Sam Howell that way, if Sam Howell wasn't good enough to replace Carson Wentz and Taylor Heinicke just basically went ahead and went out there and became the starter quarterback, if he wasn't that good, and everything I've been hearing from Rivera and those guys right now, I love Sam Howell's talent, but I don't think they're as high on him as a lot of us are, especially a lot of y'all that are really high on him, even higher than I am on him. So I think drafting a quarterback high in this upcoming draft is a very likely possibility, because remember, Sam Howell was a 5th round pick. But again, no matter what you do, if Taylor Heinicke is your starting quarterback next year, which again, I hope it doesn't happen, you at the very least need to have an obvious franchise quarterback being groomed behind him and learning behind him. Of course, you also have F.A. Abada coming up. You have Tyler Larson, who has been our starting center, but he just got hurt, and he was our 4th starting center, technically our 3rd or 2nd string center on the depth chart in training camp. But with all of the injuries to Chase Roullier, our starting center, Wes Schweitzer was out for a long time, and then you had to bring in Nick Martin as your 3rd starting center off the street, and then Tyler Larson, once he finally got healthy, started over Nick Martin. Now he's hurt, so Nick Martin is officially a starting center again. This is like our 6th change at starting center this season, with the 4th guy coming back in, and they're more than likely going to at least try to bring Tyler Larson back, because again, he was our starting center when Chase Roullier was hurt. He was supposed to be at least, but he was also hurt himself. So they're going to bring him back for something relatively cheap anyway. They may bring back David Mayo for cheap. Who knows about John Bostic? Doubt it for him. Jonathan Williams, I mean, he hasn't gotten a lot of carries, but I think he got like 1 carry against the Giants and like 4 or 5 carries the game before that. So he's out there. He exists. So they're going to try to bring him back probably. We'll see about Nick Martin. I mean, right now, it's looking like he's going to be our starting center moving forward for this playoff push until Tyler Larson is healthy. So you're probably going to try to pay him come off season. Khaleke Hudson, we'll see about his evolution, see if he can, you know, take that same leap that Derek Forrest and Benjamin St. Juste have taken. We'll see if we end up paying him. You have Daniel Wise, you have Milo Eifler, Jeremy Reeves. Jeremy Reeves has been a very strong special teams contributor, and he's even a potential Pro Bowler in special teams. That's how impactful he's been. And so there's him. You also have Cole Holcomb, Eli Wolf, and Rashad Wildgoose. Of course, if we're talking about priorities, you have Daron Payne, number 1 easily. And then after that, you can put them in whatever order you want. Joey Slye, Taylor Heinicke, Wes Schweitzer, F.A. Abada, and my boy Cole Holcomb, of course. So we'll see how these contracts go, because we're already looking at how we're going to pay Montez Sweat long-term, Chase Young long-term, Cameron Curl long-term. And if Cole Holcomb is out here demanding a certain amount of money, they may just move on. Now, speaking of moving on, let's go to the next topic, the Commanders versus Giants Part 2, the rematch. You know, the first one was a tie, so it just feels like this was just destined to happen. Like, oh, no, y'all got to run that back. We don't even know who won that fight, so y'all got to run that one back, because if it ain't an obvious winner, y'all got to run 15-30 at least after that one. And that's how I feel about that Giants and Commanders game that just went down, where that was so ugly. Neither of us deserved the win, but hey, we'll take what we could get. At the very least, it isn't a loss, but it definitely feels like one, like a lot of the players and coaches said. But it has been moved to Sunday Night Football for this Week 15 upcoming matchup. Again, we have a bye week this weekend, so we don't play this weekend. I may still live stream on Sunday for like an hour just to take a look at some of those games. I'll have my Sunday ticket up, probably have Red Zone up, and just be laughing at and talking about a lot of things going on. And of course, if y'all want to ask questions about the Commanders, I can answer those as well. So we'll see how that goes. But we don't play again until Week 15. We finally have a bye week, which is great. We'll see if Tyler Larson can recover. We'll have a good amount of time for Chase Young. He'll have an additional 2 weeks to get ready to play. They keep pump faking, acting like he's about to play, and the next thing you know, they come up with some random reason why he won't play, and so now he'll have 2 weeks, and let's see if he actually ends up making his season debut, because it would be nice to have him going into this playoff push. And, you know, potentially by the time the playoffs come around in January, if we have a fully healthy, fully explosive Chase Young, that could be a game changer. That could change the entire playoff atmosphere, man. The whole environment would shift towards us. Our defense has already been elite. Chase Young is only going to make it better. And especially with Montez Sweat having a concussion in this Giants game, I hope he recovers over these 2 weeks as well. But, I mean, our defensive line depth is even being questioned right now, even though we have a lot of good rotational players. James Smith-Williams, Casey Toohill, F.L. Bada all contributing. And my boy John Ridgway has been doing this thing as well at nose tackle. But the sooner we get Chase Young back, the better. He has 2 weeks to get ready again. Montez Sweat was with his concussion. Yeah, Jonathan Allen looked a little banged up at the end. I hope he gets right. We have a lot of hopefully Benjamin St. Juste is ready after 2 weeks of a break. We'll see how this goes, man. So we needed this bye week, boy. Woo, we needed this bye week bad. I was hoping Cole Holcomb could be ready after the bye week, but apparently he's gone for the season. But man, so the game was originally supposed to be, I believe, like a 1 p.m. game, because coming into the season, Commanders versus Giants, nobody cared about that. But now this game has strong playoff implications. Whoever wins this is very likely to make the playoffs, because again, a lot of us are fighting each other for the same spots. We play the 49ers. After that, we're fighting for the same spots basically. So in a way though, because it looks like the 49ers are probably going to win that division, and I guess it's getting to the point we got to beat the 49ers for sure, but we need to start rooting for all of the NFC West teams to start beating up on the Seahawks so they can fall out, and we can at the very least get that 7th seed, worst case scenario type of thing. But we got to win these games. But now again, this Giants game, huge implications for playoffs. You lose this, it's pretty much a done deal. I'm not gonna lie. Luckily for us, the Giants play the Eagles next week, so that's gonna make it very difficult for them to make the playoffs. But at the end of the day, we still gotta beat them. They lose to the Eagles next week and then lose to us the following week. It looks like we're pretty set to make the playoffs, but who knows? A lot of crazy things can happen. But either way, the game has been moved to December 18th, 8:20 p.m. on NBC. And this is our first home Sunday night game for us since 2017. Kirk Cousins. I mean, we just haven't been interesting enough to watch, so this is the first time they've even felt the need to put us out there on a Sunday night game in FedEx Field. So this is a great thing for people who love big games, meaningful games under the lights. Again, with these Pro Bowl campaigns, I love getting a chance for these guys to perform under the bright lights with everybody watching. I feel like that Terry McLaurin moment against the Colts, his moment against the Eagles, especially with the way he was going crazy against them, that only helps your Pro Bowl eligibility. I mean, of course, us Commanders fans are going to vote for guys like Terry McLaurin, Daron Payne, and Jonathan Allen. But when these guys have big moments and great games under the bright lights, everybody watching, that influences votes towards them from just the national fan base, everybody that watches football, not even just Commanders fans. So that's great for that. This will only help all of their campaigns in potentially making the Pro Bowl or even the All-Pro, because some people will probably look at stats and see that Daron Payne has 8.5 sacks, but you know, he's not necessarily a household name. But if Daron Payne goes out there Sunday night against the Giants, now that it's 8:20 p.m., and shows out, get himself 2 sacks or something like that, that may even get him some second team All-Pro votes type of thing. You know what I'm saying? So, man, playing meaningful games definitely do matter for the fan base and for the players, especially at FedEx Field. I mean, this has a great chance for the crowd to be crazy. Burgundy jerseys everywhere. I'm super excited. But of course, also, the bad side of this is that they have to play Sunday night, drive back to Ashburn, and then prepare to travel to San Francisco on a short week game against the Niners on Saturday. We play Sunday night and then the following week, Saturday, and it's in San Francisco, so they have to hurry up and fly over there. And San Francisco will have 9 days to prepare for us, where we have 6, where we have less than the usual 7. That is a recipe for disaster, man. I'm very, very afraid of that. It's New York Giants December 18th, and then the San Francisco 49ers December 24th. And then, I mean, I guess that's pretty good, because then we'll have 8 days to get ready for the Browns, but I'll prefer to have 8 days to prepare for the 49ers and 6 days to prepare for the Browns, rather than what it currently is, the exact vice versa of that. So this does suck. It's great to have a meaningful game under the bright lights and all of the positives I already gave you, but going from Sunday night to Saturday all the way in San Francisco, man, that's gonna suck, man. And again, the 49ers will have 9 days of rest to prepare for us. Basically 10 days to prepare for us, while we have 6 days to prepare for them. That's just not healthy, especially with Kyle Shanahan being such a genius. But yeah, man, that's the end of this video. Please get in the comment section. Let me know how you feel about everything discussed in this video. The Cole Holcomb situation, the Commanders versus Giants rematch being flexed to Sunday night, with us having to play the 49ers Saturday, 6 days after that. Definitely get in the comment section. Let me know how you feel about everything discussed in this video. And of course, please leave a like on this video if you liked it, if you learned anything. And as always, man, I appreciate all the support, man. Shouts out to all of my sponsors, especially my Pro Bowl sponsors. Name you see scrolling on the screen right now. I'm going to catch y'all later. I'm out.